Hey co-wanderers!
I'm Leah.
I'm Tay.
And welcome back to another episode of The Wandering Desk.
Yes. Thank you so much for joining us for today's conversation because it's honestly one of my favorite topics, mainly because I think it's one of the greatest perks about remote work or having any sort of flexible work situation. And so today we are talking all about maximizing your life by maximizing your day. First, I just kind of want to ask you, my favorite co-wanderer, what does that mean for the good people at home who are like, what does that mean? What does it mean to maximize my life? What does that mean to you?
Well, for the good people at home, it's the fact that you're at home. With that remote job, that you can even maximize your life. No, maximizing my life for me is more so in how I start my day. Pretty much setting the tone for my day, for my work day, my personal day. And really leaning into my emotional side, I would say. Like, if I wake up and I'm not feeling it, I have the opportunity to kind of like slow start my day. Or if I wake up and I'm super energetic and I'm a go-getter, let's go to the gym for the day. Or if I'm sleepy, let's take a nap for lunch in a bed and not a car, in a garage, in a parking garage. We'll get to that though. We'll get to that. We'll get to that one though. Ooh. But yeah, I think that being in this space has taught me so much, seeing that it's my first fully remote job because I was hybrid at first. And it's really all about maximizing your day, but specific to each day, each work day, and very specific to each person. Because me maximizing my day sometimes looks like washing clothes or preparing dinner, or maybe being able to run out on an errand really quick. And then some days maximizing my day is being able to have a hot breakfast in the morning and just being able to do a little stretch before I even start talking to somebody for the day. It looks different every single day, and that's what I truly, truly love.
And I love that you said that, because to me, maximizing your life and maximizing your day is about being able to find the most effective way to not only perform, but to take care of yourself, to take care of your home, to take care of family. It is having the ability to holistically take care of you.
Yeah.
And that means, your performance is still great at work. You're still maintaining your self-care, your health, your wellness, but you're not dropping the ball at work. And work is not essentially requiring you to sacrifice all the other parts of yourself in order to, find success in the workplace.
Yeah.
So anytime you're able to find this freedom to feed into all the other parts of yourself while still maintaining a successful career, I feel like that's what maximizing your day and maximizing your life is all about. But what does that look like? Because that sounds wonderful, right? It sounds like a dream. But what does that look like to be able to manage your work day and then everything else that you have going on in your life, whether that be household chores, errands, like what does that look like for you?
I don't have to get in the car and get in Atlanta traffic because I can't even manage myself after that. That's a big thing. And that's just specific to, me being in Atlanta. But if you know Atlanta, I don't care if it's 8 lanes. It's 8 lanes of traffic. Everybody that thinks they can drive, their car is turned upside down on 85. And then everybody that say they not nosy, they gotta stare for 10 to 15 seconds, which is holding us back.
Because it's in the shoulder by now. But it's still gonna block all 8 lanes of traffic.
First of all, ma'am, how can you see this accident from HOV lane? Woo! Because you're really pissing me off.
They find a way, baby.
Okay? And then it's either bumper to bumper traffic or it's a NASCAR race way, and that is the number one. I think that's what I appreciate the most, is not having to get behind the wheel of a car and get so frustrated and then have to swallow all my frustrations and show up as this good employee that's so motivated and eager to get these projects done and wanting to show results. That's what I appreciate the most. That traffic really be stressing me the hell out.
This is your morning. So your entire morning routine becomes less about what makes the most sense for me to get started as a person, what lets me be my most effective, my best self today. And it completely shifts to how do I manage the stress of morning? How do I beat traffic? How do I deal with these insane drivers on the road? How do I manage to eat in time before I have to leave to then deal with the traffic?
Amen.
And what that forces us to do typically is it forces you to pick up all sorts of habits that you don't even want. You didn't ask for this. You did not ask for this baggage. You did not ask to eat cereal or sugary grains every morning. But that's what you have to do.
That's what you have to do. And I like that you said, be your best self, because it kind of started getting my wheels turning. Like, when you were in that interview, that was your best self. When you were showing up and they were getting to know who this candidate was, that was your best self. That's who they wanted. That's who they hired. But then you get in there and you become a robot. They didn't hire that robot. And so I think before we even get into our own things, just managers and companies in general should think about that. Like, you got the best version of this person because they had no ties to you. They really showed up to who they were. But then all the things about that commute or whatever it is about being in the office drives them down to be a different person. And now you're upset or you're frustrated with results, or this isn't who I hired, because it's not.
Right.
Because it's not. I am my best self, my better self, working from home, being able to get that hot breakfast instead of that cereal, being able to not rip through my closet trying to find a clean shirt because I'm 10 minutes late and traffic is... No, because I washed my clothes and I folded them and I put them away. And I don't know about y'all, but y'all know sometimes them clothes be staying in the dryer for 2-3 days if you can't get to it. You know what I mean? So I washed and folded and put them away because I had time to. And it made me feel better about myself.
Right.
As a matter of fact, I got a clean blouse for this Teams meeting we got at 3.
Come on.
And you can still see me.
Come on.
I'm still reachable. Call me, beat me if you want to reach me.
Yeah.
Come on. Like, I don't have to be sitting in your face for you to feel like that's good. But then sometimes, they do feel like they have to see you constantly. Right. So with that, I want to ask you, how often does your company see you as a remote worker? Is your camera on? Are we giving off camera? Are we giving like 50-50? Where are we at with that?
That's a great question. So for me, because I was remote with one of the companies I'm with for so long, we don't get to see each other all the time.
Right.
So having the cameras on was actually a big part of us being able to connect. So we are a very cameras on crew. However, we're a very casual cameras on crew.
That's so nice.
We are. We understand that today, because there's campaigns going on and you've been working nonstop, you might be on here and your hair looks a little frazzled and you're just in your t-shirt, but we're very come as you are. There's no pressure. Obviously, if you have a sales call, if there's, a client or something like that, you would be presentable.
Right.
But it's a very understanding crew that's like, we work from home. We understand what that looks like.
Oh, please. Because some people don't. So with your camera situation, has there ever been a moment where you were maximizing your life? Get up to do some laundry, get up to do something, and you forgot that your bottoms didn't match your top?
I don't think there was a moment where I forgot that my bottoms, I'm particularly paranoid about it. So I don't play. I do a lot of mix matching where I might have a blouse and I got the sweatpants on. So I'm very conscious about not getting up. Like, someone could probably be about to rob me at gunpoint off camera and I'm just like, don't make me have to get up right now. But I will say that recently shifted because I was on a call and our CEO was like, we're going through these product changes, and our CEO was like, I have the new bags here for you guys to look at. And she gets up and she's like, tank top, shorts, like, ooh. I was like, okay, come on.
And you know what? That's nice to see it from a CEO. Like, you're comfortable.
Yes.
But girl, I can't do that. I'm polo shirt at the top, panties at the bottom. I'm like, business at the it's like anything ways. I don't get up. If that camera is on, that means I prepared for that meeting and I put everything at that desk because I can't get up. Now, granted, if I'm getting things done and I'm moving around, that camera, you're going to see that LinkedIn picture, okay? I'm not turning the camera on because for me, not every meeting that I'm in requires feedback, requires me to be 100% present as far as input. But my attention, it does. And I'm a good multitasker. So maximizing my life sometimes in a meeting may be that I'm not going to turn my camera on. I'm going to go ahead and mute myself because I know I have stuff to do. But I have you in my ears. And I'm around the house. I'm not too far from my computer because I can always chime in. You know, my desk and my office is right next to my laundry room. So I get a lot of stuff done like that. When I have those pockets where my meetings might not be for me, but it's informational, or, you know, hey, can you sit in on this and give your opinion? Or, hey, we got like a 15-minute gap between our meetings. Like, let's take advantage of those times and really see what that does for you. Whether that is, I'm telling my team, hey, I'm stepping away for 15 minutes because we're an adult and I want to stress that your team's bubble does not always have to be green. And I think that in itself is a trauma response when thinking like, I have to be green or they're not going to think I'm working. I don't care what job you do unless it's hands-on, and even that I'm still on the fence. There's nothing to do at a job every single minute and second of that day. You will have at least 5 to 10 minutes throughout your whole day where there's nothing to do, or there's a downtime. There's a little rest period, and you need to lean into those. Hey, I need to take a step away because if I keep pushing through this day, I'm gonna run myself into the ground, and I'm not gonna be useful at the end of the day. Absolutely. So I really think like even things like that, maximizing your day, when let that bubble go to has been away for 5 minutes. That's okay. Absolutely. Don't go too far away from your phone that you can't see a ping if you need to get to it. But it's okay. It's okay to take a bathroom break at home. Okay. Like, you can't be green in the bathroom. You can't be green while you're going to do something right here. Like, it's okay. And I think a lot of our remote work behaviors sometimes become trauma responses from toxic work environments.
Say that. Can we get that one more time?
I think a lot of our remote work behavior is trauma responses from toxic work environments. And I will be the first one to stand with y'all and say, I'll be like, I'm not green. And I had to really unlearn that. Because I would see some of my teammates go yellow. I'm like, oh my God, what are they doing? Why is nobody online? Like, maybe I should message them. Maybe I should say, hey, you need anything for me to do? But like, also, you don't have to input yourself into somebody else's workload or business just because you don't have nothing to do. It's okay to take a break.
Absolutely. It's that you know, experiencing all of this micromanagement. It's like, oh, well, I must be doing something at all times. We are, for most of our listeners, and including ourselves, most of our colleagues, we're not brain surgeons. We're not curing cancer. You are not running the country. We do good work, important work. Everyone's work is meaningful, but you do not do something where if you stop moving for 5 minutes, the company is not about to crash. Okay, the economy will be fine. Okay, your paycheck gonna come on time. It is. Your performance is not going to drop because you were unavailable for 5 minutes.
For 5 minutes,
or even more than that. What's interesting is the conflict between how corporate structure has traditionally been set up for so long and what we know to be true of the human brain. We know that the human brain typically cannot maintain focus for more than 50 minutes at a time. Why do you want me to be green for 8 hours straight?
If I'm green for 8 hours straight, do you really think I'm working for 8 hours? Absolutely not. Because if I see my manager isn't green for 8 hours.
Like you said, it's that fear of a toxic work environment. And I want to go ahead and say it, toxic management. because it's typically these managers who are running things in a way that makes you feel so much anxiety to where even if you have found yourself in a healthy work environment, for myself, it took me a minute to realize that I was working with a group that did not expect me to be on all the time. And so a lot of the pressure was coming from myself because I used to be in these environments where that was so, you had to be on, you had to be doing something. And if I don't see you being productive, that was the difference. If I don't see you doing something that I perceive, I'm in the role of the manager, right? If I don't see you doing something that I perceive as being productive, then I assume you are not being productive. Regardless of what your output is, regardless of the great work that you do, too many managers assume you are no longer being productive if they can't see physical proof of your productivity. All of this makes me think about some advice that I got from a really good friend of mine who is absolutely killing it in his position. And he works with one of, in my opinion, one of the most amazing agencies. They have these huge, amazing clients. Shout out to Will. But one day I remember talking to him and I was like, I just feel so burned out. I feel so tired. And it was mainly because I felt like there was just so much communication coming at me all the time. There was just always a Slack message, an email, something. And the traditional way of thinking had me feeling like there was no way someone could send me an email and I'm not responding within the hour. The truth is that was ruining my productivity because I would be in the middle of focusing on something, right? And then I'm immediately thrown off because there's an Outlook ping or there's a Slack notification. Switch. I immediately break my focus and switch into something as trivial as answering an email that truly could have waited. Yeah. And I remember Will telling me, he's like, well, TG, I actually only check my emails like at 2 points in the day. Like he has these allotted times. It's like, I'm going to check my email. There's an earlier point in the day where he checks email, and then there's a later point in the day where he checks email. That's good. And it allows for all this focus work in between. But it made me realize I have tried to take this conventional way of work that maybe worked when I was in the office. Probably not, but maybe it did because there was a different flow of the communication. Right. But now that I'm working from home as a remote worker and I need my focus time and there's even more email and even more communication than ever before. Right. It's more distraction. It's more opportunity for distraction. And I never realized how important it was to take control of how I was going to structure my day and say, actually, this is the boundary that I will set for checking email. This is the boundary I will set for when I will check Slack messages. And if it's urgent, I will communicate with my team how to get in touch with me if it's something urgent. But otherwise, like you said, I cannot be green bubble at every minute of every day. Right. I cannot be available for instant communication every day, because then nothing will get done. I'll just be trying to reply all day, and that's not my job. You have to stand firm in these boundaries and understanding what you were actually hired to do. Most of the time, it's not that they wanted you to reply to emails all day. Right. They really wanted your performance high. They wanted results. They wanted execution from you. And you cannot do that if you're chasing emails. It's back to that shift from being time-oriented because I'm in the office to being results-oriented because now you can't see me working, but the evidence of my work now has to come in the results of my work.
Right. And I love that that's your side because I was so opposite of that. Like for me, my productivity crashed. No and way. I want to be the first person to be open and honest. I just got too comfortable, honestly, and I had to pivot. I will say just knowing how to be self-aware really helped me. I think I'm really good with that just in my overall life. But I know I got comfortable, and I mean comfortable. Okay. I was at the point of like, if I have to be online at 8, I'm rolling over at 7:58 and I'm grabbing my computer and I'm starting my day from my bed. I'm in the middle of my day in my bed. I'm ending my day in my bed, or I'm just really lazy about it. And so granted, I was still getting my work done, but I wasn't getting as much work done. I wasn't as productive as I could be. And I had to really be honest with myself and say, okay, it's time to restructure your day. It's time to maximize your day. And what does that look like? And what schedule works best for you? So right now, I will say I'm in the process of starting a little bit earlier, giving an hour to myself before I give any hours to my employer, because if I spend time with me, I know I'll be more productive. I know I can ask myself what I need rather than my job, who doesn't necessarily know me on a personal level, to say, what do you need? What can we give you to be your full self, before we start asking what we need from you just as an employee. So that was my biggest thing, is like adding back things that like really work for me, making sure I get out of the bed and make up my bed so I don't want to get back in it.
That you're your biggest advocate for your own needs now.
Listen, because nobody's watching you. Nobody knows that I was in my bed, unless, you know, it was a Teams call and I didn't put that camera on. But that's neither here nor there.
Come on, LinkedIn profile.
LinkedIn. Okay, with the Atlanta City line in the back. You know, but I really love the perspectives that we have. And I think that's so great about our podcast, about our business relationship, about our friendship, is that we always have different experiences. And I think it pulls the best out, because you learn something new every day. Because let me tell you how tomorrow I'm about to have an email check-in schedule. I got to incorporate that into my day. And every day it's about learning the things that you need and incorporating it into how you move and how you are successful in your work-life balance.
Absolutely. In order for you to do that, that process includes a very high level of self-awareness and self-accountability, right? It's about advocating for your needs. It's not about trying to get over on an employer who gave you the opportunity to work remotely, right?
Okay.
So the difference in what that looks like is, if you know your productivity has been low, if you know you've been missing deadlines, if you know your performance has been low, you have an obligation to figure out, how do I fix this? And now you have the location independence and the time flexibility to figure out how to fix it, but you better believe that's a part of your responsibility, is that there's not going to be, I think when you're in the office, there's all these ways you get to get away with not really doing your job well, because you can play the game of office politics, right? Oh, if it really doesn't matter if I'm doing my job that well, if I make the CEO kiki every day, if I'm the funniest person in the office, they're like,
yeah.
That's fine. I'll tell you what's the deadline, but she was here telling me this joke.
Right.
I can get away with more. You have to have the accountability to say, is my performance suffering? And then how do I use this newfound freedom to fix that?
Yeah. It sounds like you have to be your own manager. You have to be your own manager. And sometimes, and this is the only case that I will say, micromanaging comes in handy. When you micromanage yourself, honey, get up,
girl.
Well,
don't play.
We gotta do something.
Don't play.
We gotta do something. But that just really, comes in with knowing yourself. And not every person or every remote work situation is the same. Some people know, even though I work remote, I need to go to a cafe or a co-working space. I need to do this a couple of times a week. Some people know that, hey, I can work from my bed and be productive all day and probably be my best self because I'm the most comfortable.
Right.
Everybody is different, and you have to really hone in on those skills and understand that remote work isn't always glitz and glam. And being honest with yourself. Even me just being like, I fell in a comfort zone because I had never been in that space before. And it just was really nice. But it's like, okay, realizing, let's pivot.
Right.
Because that's our word of the day. We've been pivoting all day.
We've been pivoting all day.
But let me pivot and really pour back into what a good employee is and what that means to me. Right. And especially if you like your field of work and your company, you really want to pour into and nurture that employee, because granted, you don't want to be in the same place this time next year. We want raises. Right. We want promotions. We want, even if we're growing and we outgrow a company and we want to go here, you have to put in that effort and that work to be able to do that. And that means getting up and looking in the mirror and saying, I'm not my best self. And I need to figure out better ways to be productive, and to become my best self.
And you are dropping all the gems, but I have to ask you before we start to wrap things up here, what did that look like for you to now say, I'm in this comfortable place and I have to figure out how to shift out of that? What has that been like for you to implement, how do you look at your day and say, well, I need to find a way to shift this?
It's hard, girl. I don't even really have an answer for real, if I'm being honest, because I have to figure it out every day.
It's a process.
I know for me, I have to get out of that bed and I have to make it up. I have to make any space that used to be really comfortable for me, I have to make it look so unappealing. I don't want to get back into a made up bed, which is kind of ironic because some people feel like it's comfy. I like when my clothes are on the side of the bed and I'm like, kind of tucked in, you know what I mean? Like if it looks lived in a little bit, it's like already my pillow structured to how I was laying. Yeah. Like no, it has to become uncomfortable to me. Setting different standards, like okay, let's wake up at 7 and practicing that and realizing I'm not gonna wake up at 7 just because last night I said I was gonna wake up at 7. Absolutely. Being like, okay, well today I woke up at 7:45. Great, I had 15 minutes. Okay, today I woke up at 7:30. Dang, today I woke up at 8. That's not a downfall. That's just realizing we're not set in our routine yet. Let's try again. Sometimes it's like, let's eat through or work through lunch. And then on our actual lunch, let's take a nap so that when it's time to go to sleep or, when it's time to show back up, whatever that looks like, it's like, I'm just catering to what I need day by day to create a routine, and by creating it, it's trial and error.
It's a process, but 1% better every day.
Every day.
Every day.
At least I'm not just from the bed in the nightstand here anymore. We're actually out of the bed. We're out of the bed and we're working and we're doing the things and we move.
There's a concept I hear people talk about, that's the concept of creating a commute. Even as a remote worker, even as someone who works from home, you get to determine what your commute looks like. Before, you had no control over whether or not your commute was having to spend 45 minutes in traffic going down 85.
Right.
But now your commute could be your process of getting out of bed. Your from the bedroom to the living room is your new commute, and you have the opportunity to make that as joyful and fulfilling and wonderful as you need it to be, so that you can feed into you, so that you're now showing up as your most productive self, your happiest self, you're joyful with the job. And that's truly what everyone wants. Everyone wins, from your employer to you. Everyone wins when you're showing up as your best self.
Yeah. And I think that nobody really is expected to be 100% all the time. So that's what I want to leave with. Just lean into those moments when you aren't your best self. We are human, guys. Things happen. Emotions fluctuate. But if you lean into it and you recognize it and you're like, okay, I see this happening. I see this pattern. Let me go ahead and fix it. Then that works for you and your company. They're human. You're human. You felt this pattern happening and then you changed it. You know what I mean? So for me, it's like, let's try to get to every inch of the house today. Get your steps in or something. I don't know. Just do it something. But just lean into those moments, guys. Be very self-aware, and then be aware of what your job is asking you to do, so you know how to show up for that job and how to show up for yourself at the same time.
So if you had to give our co-wanderers one thing they could do today to walk away from listening to today's episode, and they're like, this is something I can do to start the process of maximizing my life through remote work,
I would say to know through and through what are your strengths and weaknesses, and what does your physical environment look like when you perform your best. Once you know those things, you can start to add in little tasks that you need to do in those pockets, or maybe just rest. Maybe just give some time back to yourself. So that would be my takeaway. What about you?
I feel like mine would be to do a time audit. I think that's one of the best things you could do to help you start finding out. Sometimes we are so eager to figure out, like, how do I find the balance? How do I start maximizing, that we don't take enough time to figure out where are you actually handicapping yourself?
Yeah.
Where are you tripping up? And if you really were to take a look at your day, like your actual calendar, your schedule of how you spend your day, and having some sort of visual representation of that, that's your best way to identify, I realized I actually did spend 2 hours answering emails.
Yeah.
Oh, that's not what I needed to do. I actually did spend my process of getting ready for the day took, it was, I thought it was 20 minutes. Really, it was an hour, whatever it is. And then at that point, you can adjust accordingly to fit everything in. And the best part about that is that it will also inevitably show you what you need to get rid of and what you don't have time for. So I would say do a time audit. Make sure you really understand where your time and where your energy is going. And then that will show you where you can actually make these meaningful changes to readjust your day, to embrace this unconventional schedule that you can build for yourself, and make clear goals about what that looks like to now maximize your life by understanding that schedule and how you're spending your time. Amen. So do a time audit, and Google Calendar is one of the best things you could use to do it, in my opinion. Don't get me started on a desk timer. we will have to link to a couple of desk timers. I love them. They are a game changer for me. So a good old desk timer and some time blocking in Google Calendar will go a long way.
Well, thank you, co-wanderers, for joining us for this amazing and information filled and honest filled,
very honest,
episode with Maximizing Your Life. I hope you guys are doing things to maximize your life on a day-to-day, not just your personal life, but your work life as well. If you guys have any tips or tricks that you do, please leave them in the comment. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And thank you for joining.
See you on the next journey, co-wanderers.
Bye.